Are you a virgin or have you sailed the irreverent adults only cruise line? Regardless, in this cruise pod, we're gonna talk everything Virgin Voyages. Hi, I'm Melissa, a university professor who loves to cruise and who loves to talk ship. In this episode, we're gonna dive into Virgin Voyages and everything involved with this cruise line. It just so happens that I just got home from my newest cruise, which was on Valiant Lady, which is a Virgin Voyages lady ship. So I guess you can consider this my Virgin Voyages cruise line review, but I also want to share with you everything that makes Virgin Voyages different. These are not your typical cruise ships, and this is not your typical cruise line. Virgin, with its ships and as a cruise line, it's bold, it's modern, it's pretty irreverent. I'm going to talk about everything that makes Virgin different, including their dining options, their approach to onboard entertainment, their approach to inclusivity, and even what it's like getting a tattoo at sea. Whether you're a seasoned cruiser and have sailed with Virgin a lot, or if you're a first timer, there's something in this video for you. So let's dive right in. First, let's talk about the Virgin Voyages fleet. Virgin Voyages calls their ships lady ships, but these are not your grandmother's cruise ships. These are sleek, they're modern, and they're designed to feel like a floating hotel, which all cruise ships are, but not just any hotel. But with Virgin, think of this as more of a boutique hotel. They're smaller, they're more bespoke, they're a different type of experience than kind of those bigger chain hotels. Now, if you sail with Virgin Voyages, they do currently have a pretty small fleet. They have 4 ships, which is Scarlet Lady, which is their first and most iconic ship, and was actually my first ever Virgin Voyage sailing. And Scarlet Lady is known for the bold design and, like the other ships, their innovative onboard experiences. Now, I just got off another lady ship, which is Valiant Lady, and that is used typically for Virgin's Mediterranean and Caribbean itineraries. And I did a Caribbean itinerary myself. Virgin also has Resilient Lady, which they generally use in the Mediterranean, and there's a newer edition, which is Brilliant Lady. Now, regardless of what lady ship that you sail on, these ships, they are built for travelers who want to get rid of that kind of old school cruise mentality and try something new. The aesthetics are bold, everything is really an attention to detail with design, and the focus here is on relaxation and fun. And related to relaxation and fun is the topic of, is Virgin Voyages adults only? Yes, it is. And this is what I love about it and what a lot of cruisers love about it. Virgin Voyages is exclusively for adults, and in the cruising world, that can be a game changer. I don't care even if you sail an older cruise line like Holland America Line, there's usually some manner of kids. Now look, I love kids, even my own usually. So I like kids, I'm patient with kids, but sometimes when you cruise, you just want to be around adults. You don't want kids running down the hallways, knocking on doors, splashing water all over the pool. And Virgin gives you that opportunity to enjoy cruising in a more relaxed, kid-free environment. The Virgin vibe is definitely more elevated than a traditional cruise line experience, and part of that is that kid-free aspect. You'll find Virgin sailings to be more sophisticated, more fun, and a little bit more focused on relaxation. To sail on Virgin, you do have to be at least 18, and when you sail Virgin, you'll see a lot of young adults, but they're well-behaved young adults, and they are adults. So it really is ideal for couples that want to sail together, solo travelers, and I actually did a solo trip on Valiant Lady, which was my first solo cruise in a while, and even groups of friends can still have fun, but with a unique kid-free vacation experience. So whether your vibe is lounging in the pool and chilling, going to one of Virgin's fun, kind of sexy themed parties, or dining in their unique approach to restaurants, that adults-only atmosphere, it ensures a more refined, but still really fun environment. And it's really one of the advantages of sailing with Virgin Voyages. Another thing about Virgin that I love is that it is unique in being all-inclusive. Now, all the cruise lines claim to be all-inclusive, but that's actually not true. There's a whole lot of stuff that is not included. And while Virgin Voyages is a little more truly all-inclusive compared to the competition, it's still a little misleading because there are plenty of things that are still not included. But compared to all the cruise lines out there, of them all, Virgin Voyages is truly the most all-inclusive. And this is a unique approach. So I'm going to call this semi-all-inclusive. If you take a Virgin Voyage cruise, your fare includes all of the dining, which is typical on cruise lines, And they don't do buffets. And I'll talk about that in the section where we talk about food. And they don't have those extra fees for specialty restaurants. So my favorite Virgin restaurant, which again, we'll talk about a little bit later, is The Wake, which is their steakhouse. Now, I love the specialty steakhouse on the other cruise lines. I usually pay extra because they are extra. And it's usually anywhere from $49 to $55 a person to dine in a specialty steakhouse on a traditional cruise ship. But with Virgin, The Wake is included for free. And I found the food on The Wake to be pretty comparable to the specialty steakhouse food on a lot of the other cruise lines, and I've tried most of them. So the fact that specialty dining is included, including at their hibachi restaurant and the sushi and that kind of stuff, is a really nice perk that makes Virgin more all-inclusive than the other cruise lines. Now, all the cruise lines also include the basic drinks like water, tea, and basic coffee. But with Virgin, they also include soda. And sorry, Pepsi fanatics, they do serve Coke products. So if you're a ginger ale drinker like me, it's Seagram's and pretty much Coke, Diet Coke, and Sprite. It's really nice that is included as well. They also have things like group fitness classes. The big one is Wi-Fi. They include basic Wi-Fi in the cruise fare. And they also, another biggie, is they include gratuities. So when you book with any other cruise line, you also have to pay those required gratuities, usually which they try to force you to prepay in advance, which, side note, you do not have to. I never prepay for my gratuities. I wait till after the sailing, it's added to my bill, and I pay it then. But with Virgin, there are no extra gratuities. And I'm not just talking about that lumped in included gratuity, but also those nickel and diming things. So when you get a drink, you aren't even given a slip of paper to sign, where you're kind of guilted into often adding at least $1 or $2. Now, I'm not an alcohol drinker, but I drink specialty coffees, and I had a specialty coffee pretty much every day. And once you pay for it, which you scan with a little wristband, I was not given any slip to sign. So if you do like to tip extra, you can, and I'm sure the crew really appreciate that. But it's not required, it's not expected, and you really want to bring cash if that's the case, because you don't sign the little slip like you do with other cruise lines. So the fact that gratuities are included, it means that you aren't kind of nickel and dimed. Those tips do add up, and you're not tipping at every turn, and you're also not getting hit with kind of hidden charges. Now, I will also say about the Wi-Fi. The basic Wi-Fi, it's fine. Now, I'm pretty dependent on Wi-Fi when I cruise because I do teach from sea. I do need to grade, I need to be on Canvas, I make content, and the basic Wi-Fi doesn't cut it. So I did have to upgrade to the premium Wi-Fi, which, like all cruise lines, it ain't cheap. In the case of Virgin, it was $30 per day. But I did find it to be a pretty worthwhile investment because the speed was pretty good and reliable. And I even did a Zoom meeting from the middle of the ocean on Resilient Lady with full audio and video, and I had no buffering, disconnections, or issues at all. So if you're like me and you have to work from your cruises, or you just love to do things on your computer or social media, you'll be good with the premium Wi-Fi, but the basic Wi-Fi might not cut it. There are other things too that are not included, like premium beverages, like alcohol, and specialty coffees, which are my thing. It doesn't include excursions and things like spa treatments and those other types of extras. But again, compared to the other cruise lines, you do get a lot of things included that you don't with the competition. Next, let's talk about Virgin Voyages itineraries, which, if you were to consider this a review, I would say I love Virgin. There's a lot of great things about it, like the stuff we already talked about. The fact that it is more truly all-inclusive, the fact that it is kid-free, and the fact that they don't do buffets, which we will talk about in a moment. But I think the biggest downfall of Virgin is this: the itineraries. Virgin is pretty limited with itineraries. They have a lot of itineraries in the Caribbean. So they have a lot of sailings like mine, which are out of Miami, and they take you to spots like their beach club at Bimini, which we'll also talk about, and other places like Cozumel. Virgin does have some European itineraries, namely in the Mediterranean, with stops like Ibiza and Santorini, and some Northern European voyages as well. Now, they do have plans to expand into Australia, offering adventures there on Resilient Lady, but they are pretty limited on the itineraries. And if it weren't for that, I would probably sail them more often. In the United States, their itineraries are pretty much Bimini, Cozumel, there's a little variety mixed in there, but that's kind of it. So if they had more variety of their itineraries, I would probably sail them more often, but they don't, at least for now. But they're still new, so I know they have plans to expand in the future, and as they do, I probably will personally sail them more often. But for now, you'll find not as many options with itineraries that you will on competing cruise lines. Next, let's talk about Virgin Voyages' unique approach to drink packages. Unlike the other cruise lines, Virgin does not offer a traditional drink package where you pay X number of dollars per day for unlimited drinks, including alcohol, specialty coffees, smoothies, energy drinks, all that jazz. Instead, Virgin uses what they call a prepaid bar tab system, and usually it starts around $300. Now, Virgin does incentivize people to prepay that bar tab because they'll often offer bonus dollars on top of that. So for example, they may offer a $50 bonus where if you prepay that bar tab of $300, they'll make it $350, but you only pay $300. Now, there are pros and cons to this approach. The bar tab lets you pay only for what you drink. So if you're like me and you're not a heavy drinker or hardly a drinker at all, you're not locked into an expensive drink package that really you're not going to get your money's worth out of. You also aren't going to overindulge. And this is, I've seen a problem on a lot of cruise lines. People buy that drink package, even if they have limitations like Carnival, which maxes out at 15 drinks a day. There are people that want to get their money's worth and they go hard at hammering the alcohol. And as a result, on some of these lines, you see some unruly behavior and it can be kind of gross and unappealing. I don't see that as much on Virgin, and I personally hypothesize that their approach to the drink package is at least part of the reason why. If you do a prepaid bar tab, you can use it at any bar on the ship, and you can use it at the beach club at Bimini, which is Virgin's kind of exclusive private area in Bimini, which we'll talk about. So with the bar tab approach, it's a lot more flexible. So it's really great for cruisers who want some drinks, specialty drinks, even just coffee drinks, but don't want to feel like they have to pound back the alcohol to get their money's worth. Now, another advantage of Virgin's approach to the drink package is that it's really beneficial for people who are cruising with other adults who don't drink. My sister likes the drink package, but her husband doesn't. When they sail, for example, on Carnival, they're both forced to buy the drink package, which is usually about $800 per person. It's expensive. And my brother-in-law is just not going to get his money's worth, whereas my sister will because she likes a good cocktail. So the flexibility of the bar tab approach means that you're not stuck where every adult in your cabin is forced to buy the drink package. So it's great for those people that don't drink as much alcohol or drink some alcohol, but maybe more moderately, like 3 to 5 per day, or who are cruising with other people who aren't big drinkers. So there is more flexibility with this approach, but dollar for dollar, it's going to end up being a much better deal for the more traditional all-inclusive drink package if you are a heavy drinker. So that's something to consider when you're looking at potentially booking a Virgin Voyage cruise, because it's very distinct and it's very different than the approach that the other cruise lines use. Now let's talk about the Virgin Voyages First Mate program. First Mates are very simply what Virgin Voyages calls their travel agents. First Mates have special training, so they're equipped to give you their personalized recommendations, helping you pick the best itinerary, and sometimes they can offer exclusive perks like additional sailor loot, which is what Virgin calls their onboard credit. I personally am a travel agent and I have a team of First Mates with me, so we are here to give you expert advice if you are looking to book a Virgin cruise and to know all the ins and outs of it. If you're interested in doing that, just fill out my booking form at profmelissa.com/book. I'll also drop a link below so you can fill that out and we'll get you all set up with a price quote. Now let's talk about the Virgin approach to parties. Virgin does know how to party, and their onboard events are quite a bit different than a lot of other cruise lines. Their showstopper is Scarlet Night. So you probably noticed that Virgin embraces their brand color of red. So Scarlet Night pays homage to that, where everyone and everything is decked out in red. It's really fun, it's a lot of energy, and it's pretty unique. So if you're taking a Virgin cruise and you like those parties, please don't forget to pack something red. Then they have their iconic pajama party. Now this is a more laid back gathering where you can dance the night away. And people tend to take two approaches with the pajama party that I've noticed. Some people like to use this as an opportunity to party in a comfortable environment, and they will wear really comfortable sleepwear like pajama pants and t-shirts. But then you also have the sexier kind of crowd, which embraces the adults only aspect of Virgin, and they'll wear more negligee / sleepwear type attire. But whatever floats your boat, it's fine, because the great thing about Virgin is it is a very inclusive environment. You don't get a lot of side eyes and judgment, and it kind of is anything goes, especially because it is adults only. Then there is a secret party. This is a surprise event that's announced during the cruise. So there's a little bit of mystery and excitement with that. Now, regardless of whatever party you participate in or not, because they're strictly optional, each one brings its own kind of distinct vibe, and it's a really great way to let loose, have fun, and to meet fellow cruisers. Now let's talk about what I think is one of the shining stars of Virgin Voyages, which is the Beach Club at Bimini. Now, most of the cruise lines, at least the bigger ones, have their own private island experiences. So Royal Caribbean has Perfect Day at Coco Cay, and they have Labadee in Haiti. Carnival has Princess Key and Half Moon Key, as does Holland and Princess. But with Virgin, they don't own a private beach, or they don't own a private island. Instead, they have the Beach Club at Bimini. Now, the Beach Club at Bimini is an open environment, but they have an exclusive arrangement with Virgin Voyages, where when a Virgin Voyages cruise ship is docked in Bimini in the Bahamas, Virgin passengers have exclusive access at no additional cost to the Beach Club at Bimini. And I gotta say, it's pretty awesome. It's again located in the Bahamas, so the water is turquoise, crystal clear, and the Beach Club offers everything that you want in a tropical escape. What I love about it is because it has a party vibe, but also a relaxed vibe. So regardless of what you're looking for, you're gonna find it at the Beach Club at Bimini. The sand is pure white, it is sugar soft, it's really gorgeous. They have pools, and then if you do like the party vibe, they'll have a DJ at the pool that offers a dance party that kind of amps up as the day goes on. So regardless of what you're looking for, the Beach Club delivers. And the best part, it's included in your cruise fare. Now, I know this also sounds minor, but I personally, I don't know why, I just hate schlepping around towels. The cruise lines do provide cruisers with towels, but I find it annoying to have to like get it from my room, or not all cruise lines even give you a towel in your room. You've got to go hunt one down on the Lido deck and schlep it with you. And sometimes they're big and bulky. Another thing I love as an advantage of the Beach Club at Bimini is they provide the beach towels for you there at the Beach Club. So you don't have to drag that with you, and you don't have to drag a wet, sandy, dirty towel back to your clean stateroom. You can just turn it back in at the Beach Club before you leave. So I love that it's all included. If you do buy the prepaid bar tab, you can use it at the Beach Club at Bimini, and they provide a tram. So getting to and from there is really easy, it's really fast, and it costs you absolutely nothing. So unlike a lot of other cruise port destinations where you have to do an excursion or a minimum pay for transportation to a beach and then pay to rent a lounger or umbrella, all of that is included with the Beach Club at Bimini. So it is truly a legit 100% free beach day. And the great thing is too, if you're not a beach person or you're not feeling a beach day, the tram also makes different stops to other places in Bimini. Now, Bimini is a small island. I do have a detailed port guide I provide for free. I'll drop that in the comments and the show notes. So make sure you check that out. Because if you're not a beach person, they have other things to do, like renting a golf cart to explore the island, and the tram will drop you off right there at the golf cart rental location. So they'll take you from the ship to the golf cart rental location, you rent your golf cart, you explore the island, return it, take the tram back to ship. And they also have a pretty well-known casino that's offered by Resorts World. So there are different things to do here, but honestly, the Beach Club is so awesome. I recommend that all cruisers at least check that out. Now let's talk about Virgin Voyages room types. Virgin cabins, they are really unique and they're sophisticated. I think, and I sail a lot of the cruise lines, they have some of the best, swankiest cruise staterooms of them all. A popular option is the one that I just sailed on, which is a sea terrace. And this is basically their balcony stateroom. It gives you that private balcony, and it comes with that signature red hammock hanging on the balcony. Now, I made a lot of content for my Virgin cruise, and I just thought everybody knew about that iconic red hammock on Virgin cruise ships. But every video I posted, people kept asking, what's with the red hammock? Where did you get the hammock? Did you bring it? So I want to make sure to take time in this episode to talk about that red hammock because apparently it's not common knowledge. So basically, Virgin Voyages has these special red hammocks, and they are special, not just because they're red, but they do have to be manufactured specifically for cruise ship use because they have to meet certain maritime requirements of being flame retardant. So don't get any ideas thinking, oh, a hammock on a cruise ship balcony, that's a great idea. I'm gonna buy one and bring it on my next cruise. Don't do that. Cruise lines don't like it, they won't allow it, they'll make you take it down. But if you sail with Virgin, you not only have that hammock experience, but it's provided for you. And if you love the relaxing vibe of that red hammock, they do make them for sale if you do want to buy one and take it home. So that's a great perk of a Virgin Voyages Sea Terrace stateroom. Now, if you have to go with an insider cabin, that's a great option too. I've stayed in an insider, which is an inside stateroom, on a Virgin cruise ship, and I found it to be great as well. These, of course, are your inside staterooms, so you don't get that view, that ocean view, or the balcony. Now, if you want to splurge, Virgin has Rockstar quarters, and they have a luxury experience with added perks like private access to exclusive areas and personalized service, VIP treatment, all that good stuff. So from budget with the interior rooms, which are still great, to the higher price rooms like the Sea Terrace rooms and the Rockstar quarters, you're gonna have a good time no matter what. And what I love about Virgin staterooms is they are really decked out to be sophisticated. If you have a Sea Terrace room, for example, when you walk in, the curtains automatically open for you, like you're royalty. It feels amazing. They have ambient lighting, they have different LED light settings that you adjust with a personalized little iPad tablet that you're provided in every stateroom. You can use that tablet to control all of the lighting, control the entertainment system, and I find that Virgin has really great movie and TV options compared to most of the other cruise lines. So if you are looking for a relaxing cruise involving some time in your stateroom, just chilling, watching movies, you will find that on Virgin regardless of your stateroom type. Now let's talk about dining on Virgin Voyages because this is a very unique approach too that differs from other cruise lines. So if you cruise with other lines and it's your first Virgin cruise, you're gonna find a different experience. Now, they don't do buffets and they don't do the main dining rooms or the MDR. So scratch that. Your old way of thinking of how food works on a cruise ship, it's gone. Virgin does it differently. They offer an elevated approach to dining with a variety of included restaurants. So for dinner and brunch, for example, you've got not the MDR or the main dining room, but you have the Virgin specialty restaurants. And when I say specialty restaurants, these are included in your cruise fare. So they don't cost extra money like the steakhouse on Holland America Line, for example. Some of the highlights include The Wake, which is a steak and seafood joint, my personal fave. They have Razzle Dazzle, which is kind of vegetarian forward, but there's plenty of meat options too. And then there's Gun Bay, which is a lively Korean barbecue spot. So with Gun Bay, you'll get seated with other cruisers and they do that kind of interactive Korean barbecue experience, which is really cool. They also have Extra Virgin, which is their Italian restaurant. I find that to be exceptional. And the Test Kitchen, which I don't want to spoil anything, but let's just say it's something else. If you're a real foodie with an adventurous palate, a sophisticated palate, you'll love it. But even if you're like me and you have the palate of a toddler and you love chicken nuggets, you still should go because it's a unique experience. But regardless of where you dine for dinner, dining is an experience. They have incredible menus. Again, no added costs. You can make reservations through the app, but you don't have to. And I remember my first Virgin cruise, I was really stressed out about the reservation thing, thinking I don't want to have to like really think or pre-plan in advance. And I don't know if I want to eat at the Wake on Wednesday at 6 or 7, I don't know. Because I found that while reservations are nice, in most cases, they can also accommodate you on a walk-up basis. You might have to wait a little bit, but usually they get you in pretty quickly. And I've found on all of my Virgin cruises that I've spent far less time waiting to be seated for a dinner than I have with other cruise lines, which I really like. Now let me tell you about their approach to the buffet. They don't do a buffet. Instead, they have what's called the galley. It's kind of a buffet type of vibe where it's open seating. You come in, you sit wherever you'd like, and you can look at the menu on the app, or they can provide you one on paper as well. You actually put a little red flag up when you're ready to order, and a Virgin employee will come around, take your order, and bring it to you at your table, which is really nice. No stress of waiting in line. none of that grossness where people are touching and picking over and sneezing on food. And I really like this approach a lot better. Now, I will say, my other thing that I don't love about Virgin, there's two things I don't love about Virgin. One is their limited itineraries, which I already talked about. And my other critique is the food. While I do find the food to be more elevated in terms of being higher quality, where they really struggle, in my opinion, is with variety. After a couple meals in the galley, I really did start to miss my traditional cruise line buffet, where you sometimes have just dozens and dozens and dozens of options. The menu in the galley doesn't really change. And in fact, my last Virgin cruise was over a year ago, and it was exactly the same menu. And you start to get a little bored of it. And that's kind of the same for the room service as well, which we'll talk about next. So, speaking of room service, is Virgin Voyages room service free? Yes and no. Like Royal Caribbean, Virgin Voyages is one of those cruise lines that still has free room service, meaning the food doesn't cost you anything, but there's a $10 delivery fee. I do have a little secret insider hack here though. If you order a drink with your room service order on Virgin Voyages, even if it's something as low as $4, and they have some specialty coffee drinks as low as $4, that fee is waived. So obviously $4 is cheaper than $10, plus you get a drink out of it. So that's really nice. So if you're ordering room service, which I did often on this solo chill cruise, because I did a lot of time writing and just working in my stateroom and enjoying the view. So I ordered room service a lot, and I would always order that $4 drink to make it free. You can also pre-order breakfast for each morning, which I thought was really cool, and I made use of that as well. But like in the galley, I found the options to be pretty limited. They do a good job accommodating various food allergies, so I'm eating gluten-free. So I had gluten-free options, but not a lot of them. It was basically bacon and eggs and oatmeal every morning. So you don't get a ton of variety there, so make note of that. While you can pre-order breakfast every night for the next day, the exception is that last night you cannot order in advance for breakfast room service on disembarkation day. But overall, Virgin has really great room service. I like the way they deliver it to your room. Instead of those awkward, bulky trays, they bring it in these little bags, which is just so much more sleek and compact and makes it less messy and less clunky. So overall, I was very pleased with Virgin room service. I just wish they had more variety. Now let's talk about Virgin Voyages dress code. Formally, Virgin approaches what they call a relaxed yet style approach with their elevated casual dress code. But honestly, on Virgin, like a lot of cruise lines, anything goes. So just dress comfortably. Now, the exception here is on Scarlet Night, you'll want to make sure you wear red. You don't have to, but you might feel like you're missing out if you don't. But other than that, you're good to dress in whatever makes you feel good. Some of the cruise lines, like Holland America Line, are kind of strict about attire in the main dining room, and they will dress code you and not let you in if you're wearing shorts, for example, or flip-flops. But with Virgin, while most cruisers do tend to dress maybe a little more elegantly, and I'm not talking anything fancy like Elegant Night, but they dress a little nicer than I see on other cruise lines, there is no dress code, and they're not gonna dress code you or kick you out. Now let's talk about something that's important, because I really missed the proverbial boat on this one, unfortunately, which is, does Virgin Voyages offer status matching? Yes, they do. I wish all cruise lines would status match, but unfortunately most of them don't. But Virgin Voyages does. They have a status match program for loyalty members of other cruise lines and other sometimes hotels or airlines. And this is a really great way to take advantage of all these benefits that you've earned in other places and to get them immediately on Virgin. They have a special place on their website where you can check to see if you qualify, and you can actually submit your application, but make sure you do it at least 7 days before your cruise. I filled mine out about 5 days before my cruise because I just didn't think about it, and I was approved the day I got home. Given that I'm platinum on Carnival, I could have enjoyed some really awesome perks on my Virgin cruise, and for me, the two biggest ones that I would have loved to have taken advantage of is free laundry service and a daily free specialty coffee drink. So I'm kicking myself for not submitting that sooner. So don't make my mistake. If you have status on another cruise line, even if it's not the highest tier status, check it out, submit that status match before you cruise at least 7 days in advance. Now let's talk about another unique thing about Virgin, which is their tattoo parlor. You can actually get a tattoo at sea. Virgin Voyages is home to Squid Ink, which is the world's first tattoo parlor at sea. I actually got my one and only tattoo on my first Virgin Voyages cruise on Scarlet Lady, and of course, it's a compass, cruise themed, naturally, but they're not cheap. When I got mine, it was about $150. On this most recent sailing, I stopped in to check prices, and flash tattoos, which are these easy, non-custom, small tattoos, they now start at $200. But still, what a freaking unique experience to be able to say, I got a tattoo on a cruise ship. It's really cool. Now, I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable getting one on a day when the ship's really rocky, but you would be surprised at how talented their tattoo artists are at making sure your tattoo is even and you don't have to worry about that. Now, one thing you do have to consider if you're interested in getting a tattoo on a Virgin Voyage cruise is your itinerary, because fresh ink cannot be exposed to sun or water. Now, if you get a tattoo on board, they will cover it with what they call second skin, which is like a plastic coating that sticks and is protecting your fresh ink. But you still don't want to be getting in the pool and submerging it. So I got my tattoo the day before our visit to the Bimini Beach Club, so I had to spend my time in the ocean like this. A little bit of water is fine, but you don't want it to be fully submerged. Now, because of this, and cruisers knowing this, there's always cruisers clamoring to make appointments for the last day or the last night. So if you want to get a tattoo on board, you want to plan ahead a little bit on this one. Virgin does not allow you to make a reservation in advance, or you can't even make it on the app once you're on board like you can a lot of other things like dining and shows. You have to physically go to Squid Ink in person when they're open to make the appointment. So if this is something you're interested in doing, take a look at your itinerary, figure out when it makes the most sense for you to get it, and the hot minute they open and you're on board, get your butt there and make your appointment. And that's gonna give you the best experience where you're not stressing about avoiding sun and water on your tattoo. But no regrets, I love this. It's so meaningful and special to me, and what a cool experience. Now let's talk about what is usually an obvious question, but I like to cover anyway, which is why book a Virgin Voyages cruise with a travel agent? I like to cover this because there's a lot of misconceptions about travel agents. And as we discussed earlier, Virgin Voyages calls their travel agents first mates. So when you hear first mates, it just means a travel agent that has done the Virgin Voyages specialized training. Now, when you use a travel agent, it does not cost you anything extra. There's no markup, there's no extra fee, I promise you that. That's the biggest misconception about using a travel agent. So when you want to book a Virgin cruise, there's different ways you can do it. You can go to the Virgin website and book it directly. You can pick up the phone and call and book it with a Virgin employee. You can find a trusted travel agent and book it with them, or you can even go through a place like Cruise Direct or cruises.com and book it there. Now, the benefit of using a travel agent is, again, it's no extra cost, and a travel agent will give you more personalized service, their expert advice and guidance, things that you don't get if you book the other ways, and again, it costs you nothing extra. Now, full disclosure, I am a travel agent, so I'm a little biased, but if you are interested in getting a price quote or booking a cruise, you can fill out my form link below or at profmelissa.com/book, and we'll make sure you have all the information you need, including my custom Virgin Voyages guidebook that I usually sell that I will provide to you for free so you can have the perfect Virgin Voyages cruise. Now, the last thing I want to cover is the Virgin vibe, because I'm in a lot of Virgin Facebook groups like I am with all the cruise lines I sail. And I'm a little shocked sometimes and disappointed when I see cruisers who sail Virgin for the first time and they come online to complain about it. Now, if you have a bad experience, by all means, complain, that's your right. But sometimes what happens is that cruisers don't realize that Virgin's a little bit different. They don't realize that Virgin embraces the inclusive nature of cruising. It's very LGBTQ+ friendly, it's very diverse, there are drag shows. So if those kind of things offend you, don't take a Virgin cruise. I personally love these aspects, and that's what makes Virgin so cool and unique and why I love it. But if you are more traditional, conservative, and again, a drag queen is gonna make you clutch your pearls, please do not take a Virgin cruise. There's plenty of other cruise lines to take. Leave Virgin for the people that embrace that kind of vibe. It is adults only, it is more irreverent. When they first started sailing, they actually sold adult toys in the staterooms. They no longer do that, but this is more of kind of a sexy approach to cruising. It's very adult oriented. So again, if that's not your thing and those sorts of things are going to offend you, take a cruise on a different line. If, however, you're thinking, hey, that's a good time, which I personally think it all is, then Virgin is a great option. So there you have it, everything Virgin. If you found this information helpful, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I have a guide to sailing Virgin listed below and in the show notes. And as always, visit my website, profmelissa.com, for tons of cruise advice, my personal recommendations, and free port guides. Happy sailing!